Hi, it's Joy and today I'm going to be watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Season 1, Episode 2, The Star-Spangled Man. And I'm angry because I already have bad vibes from the new Captain America. It was that wink. Like, the whole thing was wrong, the whole thing was off, and that wink at the end was just like, no. So I'm stressed. I loved the first episode of this show. I love that they didn't feel the need to jump headfirst into like over the top into the action of everything. Like kind of that we got that episode to really see where Sam and Bucky were at. But there are 5 episodes left, including this one, so I imagine we're going to head towards the action very, very soon. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and all my reactions, unedited versions, are on my Patreon as well. And yes, let's go! Ugh.
Everybody in the world expects me to be something.
That's, yeah, you're Captain America.
And I don't want to fail them.
You're going to. I had that feeling.
I'm gonna love you.
I mean, a key part of Captain America was what made Captain America was Steve. That was the key part in him going through the serum in the process. His true goodness. And then his super strength was also really handy. I'll try not to judge you too much by that wink. And the fact that you were chosen in like 2 seconds by the seams of it.
Time to go to work.
Guy like me, somebody's being a bit too humble.
Is he?
Who aren't familiar with John's
I'm not.
And you tested off the charts in every measurable category: speed, endurance, intelligence.
Look, listen, I'm not Tony Stark. I'm not Dr. Banner. Okay, I don't have
Steve Rogers.
gadgets, I don't have super strength. But what I do have.
Okay, so it doesn't seem like they literally plucked any old
America always has,
white
needs to
boy
have,
soldier.
every ounce. Followed his career very closely as an Avenger. I like to think that.
Bucky.
So you've always wanted to be a hero.
It shouldn't be as simple as that. Just make your own superhero. I'm definitely struggling because of the pain I'm feeling over losing Steve, even though I know he had a wonderful life. Over these two losing their best friend and having to see this. I'm glad the internet loved Torres as much as I did.
You didn't know that was gonna happen? No, of course I didn't know that was gonna happen. You think it didn't break my heart to see them march him out there and call him the new Captain America? This isn't what Steve wanted. Oh my God! So what do you want me to do? Call America and tell him I changed my mind? Huh?
At least they're talking.
His connections with the big 3. What big 3? The big 3.
What big 3?
Androids, aliens, and wizards.
That's not a thing.
That's definitely a thing. It's not.
I love them already.
We fight one of the 3.
There are no wizards.
Doctor Strange is a sorcerer.
I love them.
A sorcerer is a wizard without a hat. Right? I'm right.
I love the logic.
But look, that's not the point. All right,
This has been a long flight. Really long flight. It's not a quick flight from America to Europe.
Oh, you're right, Buck. No, you can't call me that. Why not? That's what Steve called you. Steve knew me longer, and Steve had a plan. 15 seconds to drop.
I can't wait to watch their friendship grow.
Sure about that?
Bucky! Oh my god.
I have all of that on camera. You know that.
I love them so much.
Don't hurt him.
It's not great, but very doable. Hello, how are you? What did I miss? Alright. I got a vibranium arm. I can take the picture. I can fly. Who gives a shit?
Is this a hostage or is it someone that's willing? Yes, I thought so. Are they all super strong? No, not Red Wing.
I always wanted to do that.
Oh no. Oof, fuck. Of course. Oh. This is causing me pain. Hi, Buck. You doing okay? Because it doesn't look it to me. Oof. Yep. That was not very Captain America-esque up there.
Could have used that shield. Get off of me.
Okay, he saved his friend. He's got good reflexes. I still don't approve of him being Captain America, but at least he doesn't seem like the actual worst person to have ever lived. Just a pretty shit dude. They're super soldiers, you moron! And you're not, without the shield, or even less of a super soldier. If they fought off Bucky, do you think you're gonna just casually march up there?
Super soldiers for real?
Yeah.
Or he's gonna want some of the serum.
Together. Okay, so we got 8 super soldiers on a bulk supply, remember?
Oh. It's personal with them. If anyone's gonna struggle with you being Captain fucking America, you shouldn't be.
It was during the blip.
Look,
Is it stare like that?
yes. At least
Get used to it.
Okay.
acknowledge that this is hard for them.
Kind of, you joined up with us. I mean, we could...
Man, I got mad respect for both of y'all, but you're kind of getting your asses kicked till we showed up.
So did you!
For my Hoskins,
You both got your asses kicked too!
Tactical gear. I need a
Battlestar, John Spangled.
Battlestar. Stop the car.
not trying to be Steve. I'm not trying to replace Steve.
You
I'm
are.
trying to be the best Captain America I can
Then
be.
choose a different name.
That's it.
Be Sergeant USA.
A whole lot easier if I could.
Ooh.
The GRC care more about the people who came back than the ones who never left. We got a glimpse of how things could be.
Both matter!
You think you can wake up one day and decide who you want to be?
Yes.
It doesn't work like that.
Plus he was brainwashed, and now he isn't.
It does for folks like you.
Because there's more of you and me out there.
You, me.
And we need to know how.
I'm not going to talk about it anymore.
Soon they made more super soldiers after Steve.
They put my ass in jail for 30 years. People running tests, taking my blood. Even your people weren't done with me.
I say it.
Get out of my house!
It's not their fault, but he's suffered a lot, despite doing everything right.
Why didn't you tell me about Isaiah? In here
Just
talking.
give him your ideas.
No, I'm not giving him shit. We're just talking.
Hey, hey, look, step out
No,
of
he's
here.
not bothering me. You know
God. Oh, suddenly you change your tune.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Wilson.
I didn't tell anybody because he'd already been
hmm
told. No.
Mr. Barnes,
I mean, Bucky only recently came back in.
we're out for your arrest.
What?
President pardoned him for all that forgetting about.
That was not me.
Stina!
Oh!
You gotta be kidding me. You know him?
Who authorized this?
Mm-hmm. Ugh, he's just something about him.
Condition of your release session now. You too, Sam.
Hey, I'll be out here with my.
That wasn't a request.
Okay, I should have paused for a sec. I just find with John Walker, that's his name, isn't it? I'm glad that he is more than just your average soldier. That he apparently is a super skilled, amazing soldier. I still think he could have been called Sergeant USA or some other stupid name. It's just there's something about his attitude that is that bit smarmy. Like, that's... Ugh. It was the wink and then the way he kind of did that. Ugh. Like, just something about him is setting my teeth on edge, despite the fact that he's not as underqualified as I thought. Although he's not a super soldier. And I just... Ugh, he's an idiot. And he's not acting like as respectful as he should around actual heroes when he's still a little rookie who was picked by the president or by government people rather than earning it.
This is ridiculous.
See? Making progress. You guys are leaving me with no choice. It's time for the soul gazing exercise.
I love this one. Thank you for
I love this. Oh,
Turn
I'm
around, turn around.
I love this so much.
really enjoy this.
I'm going to.
I'm not.
Face each other.
Your
Right
legs
or left?
open. You know what? Fine. Here.
I love this so much.
Yeah.
Good.
We're locked
That's
in.
fine.
now.
It's a little
It's
close.
very close. That's what you wanted, right?
Guys. Just blink. Why does Sam aggravate you? And don't say something childish.
Oh, you can do it, my loves.
Why'd you give up that shield? He believed in you. He trusted you. He gave you that shield for a reason. That shield, that is everything he stood for. That is his legacy. He gave you that shield and you threw it away like it was nothing.
So maybe he was wrong about you, and if he was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me.
No, none of that is true, sweetheart. That was big and deep. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. All right. But can you accept that I did what I thought was right? And when we're done, we both can go on separate long vacations and never see each other again.
No, because
Like that.
you're
Well, let's get
friends
to work.
deep down.
Thanks, Doc, for
We divide ourselves, we don't stand a chance. You guys know that.
You need to prove yourself to them.
So what are you
But it's only a matter of time before we find out.
Things are really intense for you, aren't they, Walker?
Mm-hmm.
Take it easy. Look, Walker's right. It is imperative that we find them and stop them. But
It's not as easy being Captain America as you'd think.
Kind of authorization.
A word of advice then. Stay the hell out of my way.
Wonderful, you've got Captain America down. Like, it's not about who credit or whatever, like, ugh. I don't like him. He's less awful, or he's less underqualified than I thought, but yes.
It's the power brokers, man.
Everybody grab what you can.
Ooh, these are people that they got the serum from. I mean, they really believe in this cause.
They got away.
So what do you think?
Ugh!
Well, I know we have to.
We're gonna go see Zemo.
I hope this season they form a beautiful friendship. They have one already, but acknowledge it a little bit. I didn't miss you. This was another absolutely fantastic episode. I'm so glad that Bucky and Sam just got back into connection. And yeah, so starting with John Walker, I kind of talked about it a little bit during the reaction. I am glad that they made it clear that he is super good at being a soldier, better than your average. I still don't necessarily think that should qualify you to be Captain America. I still think that it should take longer than 2 weeks to pick someone. And I definitely think that in order to honour Steve's legacy, they shouldn't have called him Captain America. He should have taken on a different title, maybe even still use the shield, even though that is Steve's legacy, because the shield is basically the only thing that makes him super. Otherwise he's just, a bit of a loose, a bit of a standard soldier dude, rather than being anything special. And I mean, you don't have to be super to be a hero, I know that, but he's just, there's something off about him. It was in that wink, it's in the way he kind of talks sometimes. It's like his being the perfect good guy persona slips. And I don't know if I'm reading more into this because I'm so angry that they've given away Captain America, like the legacy, to just some randomized dude. What would they have done had Sam been like, oh, I'm Captain America now? Would they have allowed him to be? I mean, I'm no way blaming him for not feeling like he was up to that task right now, in my opinion. Like, fully valid. Like, I have no way got anger towards him over that. But like, what would the government's position on that have been? Would it have been, okay, cool, but now you're under our jurisdiction? Obviously, they love that they've got a Captain America who is theirs, whereas Steve was always his own person. He was with the Avengers. And I know that kind of the Avengers aren't really a thing anymore, but we still have SWORD, we still have we still have SHIELD. They don't know that. But we still have SWORD, and we still have a lot of the heroes are out there. Not obviously a lot of them are alive and existing. So hypothetically, at some point, Captain America would need to work with them. Is the US government assuming this Captain America, should an alien come and invade again, this Captain America will go and be like, hey Hulk, how you doing, Spider-Man? Just pop on. Oh, Thor, good to see you, mate. Like, is that what they're thinking, that he would just gel into that team? Or are they kind of ditching the whole Avengers concept altogether because people are still angry at the Avengers for... They're both angry at the Avengers for not stopping Thanos, and then they're angry at them because they did stop Thanos. Like, pick a side. So yeah, there's something off about him, and in the way he was like, stay out of my way. Surely it should be like, well, if we've done, like, you know, we'll do our own thing, but if we're both like in the same place, we should work together in those moments. So there is just something off, and it could just be that he's trying too hard. Like, I definitely think when Bucky was like, a lot of pressure on you, or whatever he said, that you can definitely see that the mantle of Captain America is not a light one. It is one that Steve valued. It is one that Steve viewed as something with great respect, and that he just embodied that true goodness. So I think it's going to be a lot harder than he thinks it is to be Captain America. It's not all just smiling for the cameras and signing autographs. And definitely when it came down to the fight, you know, his friend Tompkins, was that his name, was like, oh, you were getting your asses kicked. Literally the exact same thing happened to you. You know, you'd be seriously injured if your mate hadn't thrown the shield at you. And because he threw the shield at you, he just got punched off the van. But all of you got your asses kicked, because largely in Sam and Bucky's side of it, because they were not prepared for lots of super hit soldiers. Maybe they thought there could be one, but there being many was not what they expected. So then coming to the Flag Smashers, their goal sounds noble, but when it comes from a fact of like, they care more about the people that claim back than us, it's like, yes, okay, people will have suffered on both sides through the blip, but they don't not care about you. It's just your lives they spent the last 5 years caring about, and now they've got these people who need help too. Everyone deserves the help. You know, make a point of saying, like, don't forget us. We have problems too. That is valid as well. But kind of, I feel like there are always people that take advantage of unrest like this to try and get some other message across. Now, the whole concept of one world, one nation, are they saying that over the 5 years that's what we were building towards? That the world, that borders and rivalries were all crumbling? Because I don't see that personally in 5 years, or at the very least I don't see that that would have happened enough for you to feel its loss when all the people came back. I think that they are very idealistic, but also seemingly willing to kill people, because the whole thing of after tomorrow nothing will ever be the same, or whatever they said, makes it seem like they've got something pretty bad planned. Were they taking medicines to the displaced camps? Now, are the displaced, aren't they the people that came back from the blip but now don't have a home because, you know, a bit like Aunt May was like, oh, our apartment, you know, someone else was living in it, kind of like, that's who the displaced are. The displaced aren't people that got kicked out of their new homes or whatever. So are they going to try and like poison all the people that came back and get rid of them so that then they can go back to how it was? Is that the plan? Like, give them fake medicine? Or is that real medicine? And I'm intrigued to find out. I'm also scared. But yes, I think some of the scariest people are the true idealists, the people that truly believe in it. Because, you know, you'll have cases like bad guys that work for people who are like, don't really want it, like, they're doing it because it's their job. They're not idealistically motivated. They're maybe doing it because they've been frightened into it. They are going to be more likely to stand down. I'm pretty sure it was in Iron Man 3, wasn't it? Or it was one of the films. I think, I can't remember now, that one of them was like, hey, I just work here. I don't want to die for this. Like, I'm not going to fight you. I enjoyed that moment at the time, because I think that happened in that. It's one of the Marvel films, I'm pretty sure. But these idealists will give everything they've got to fight for their goals. Then we have beloved Sam and beloved Bucky. I'm just so glad they were together. I know they spent a lot of this time arguing, but I think they are both coming to the problem with the shield from very different places. Now, for Sam, he very much feels like that is such a huge burden that to him, carrying that shield, calling himself Captain America and having that shield embodying Steve's legacy was such a huge task that I don't think he was necessarily sure he was worthy of it, that he would be able to be up to that task, because if you take it seriously, it is beyond a huge burden, and I don't know that John Walker is taking it seriously. I'm wondering if after some of the dynamics and conversations we had in this episode, if Sam felt like the world wouldn't accept him if he tried to take it on the role of Captain America, because, you know, he's Black Falcon, you know, he's kind of, I don't know, is that something that they're going to think about? Because there would be people that would riot. I mean, we see it with castings. If they don't cast someone with white skin or with red hair that played a red-haired character from the comics, like, people get mad for no reason. So maybe that's going to weigh into it, which ideally I think I would like it if Sam could feel comfortable in choosing to be Captain America. in the long run. I do wonder, because obviously he's Falcon and he flies, like can he somehow incorporate his Falcon wings into being Captain America? I don't know where they're planning to go with it. I'm hoping John Walker will not be around forever. Hoping John Walker will not be around beyond these 6 episodes, if I'm totally honest. We don't need him in our lives. So for Sam, I think the fact that his decision has caused this is something he feels guilty about, and in a way Bucky being so upset is kind of driving home to Sam how Sam is feeling about the situation, how Sam is feeling like, oh, Steve probably would be disappointed in me, you know, I'd like to think he'd understand it, but Steve would not be happy that this is the situation, I failed him in some way, even though I did what I thought was right. And I'm glad that Sam is sticking to that he did what he thought was right, that he's not kind of like, yeah, I messed up. He's like, no, I didn't feel ready for it. I think he's far better than John. Maybe even seeing someone else being Captain America will help Sam see that if that guy can, they give it to him, I'm far more qualified. Even in the fact that I knew Steve well, I knew what drove him. Then Bucky's attitude towards the Shield is obviously that is his brother, his friend, and this smarmy little punk is running around saying he can be Captain America, you know, saying, I feel like he was a brother. Like, no, he was Bucky's brother. And the guy's so arrogant with it as well, kind of even in how he talks to them, you know. I'm not saying he needs to bow down and kiss their feet, but they are 2 people who have fought alongside the Avengers, who have been through literal hell and back, who knew the real Captain America very well. So I feel like you wouldn't want to just treat them like, oh, hey, equals, we've just done this at a bunch. You'd kind of be like, oh, you know, I know this must be weird for you, but Steve's legacy really is important to me and I'm going to do my best to embody it, and I would love it if you could be along, you know, kind of that's the attitude you should have towards them, not like, oh, hey bros, you my wingman. So for Bucky, I think he's already feeling quite lost in the world in general, feeling lost without Steve, and then to see that Steve entrusted that shield to Sam and Sam gave it away. Now I think Bucky hasn't, because he's got so much else going on in that brain of his, allowed himself to stop and think about Sam's reasons and Sam's motivations. I think he is capable of that. But I think a really important thing is what he said in that therapy session of, if Steve gave it to you, and clearly he was wrong. If he was wrong in giving it to you because you didn't value it and you didn't think of it, so he was wrong in thinking of you as a friend, so that means he's wrong in me. That Bucky's self-worth is still very, very, very delicate, if there at all. And I think a lot of it is based on the fact that Steve fought for him, that Steve believed in him, and Steve also believed in Sam. Steve had 2 best friends and Sam was one of them. So if Sam isn't what Steve thought, then probably Steve, like, I think that was so telling that, you know, he was wrong about me, that a lot of that Bucky is still struggling with his own identity and his own worth, and having people like Isaiah kind of, who I would get to, throwing at him, oh, you're people Hydra, and like, oh, I don't want anything to do with you, you can't just wake up and say you're not a killer. There's a lot in Bucky's mind that while the world, I presume in the pardon and everything, people know about that, they know that he was brainwashed, he struggles with whether he is to blame for it or not, and we all know he isn't, because he's a good person. So for Sam, I think Sam is definitely struggling still with the fact that he gave up the shield and his decision, with the fact that he feels like there's no choice, it's done now, what else can we do? But he wants to do his mission and he wants to do it right, and I really believe in, I love him for that, and I love the dynamic between him and Bucky, and I really want these 6 episodes to get them to a place where they acknowledge that they are friends, you know, that they can be for each other what Steve was for them, that they could be there for each other, that, yeah, they don't have to, like, they can crack jokes at each other and wind each other up, but that they are friends because they are friends. The therapy session was fantastic. Just such a fun scene. They have such a brilliant dynamic. And I really want them to just become friends. I still love Taurus. Taurus is great. So then Bucky, we obviously learn more about him in a sense that he really has looked into all the people from his past, the people he's wronged and hurt, and the fact that he knows about Isaiah when, beyond that, like, obviously he remembers, like we know he says, I remember all of them, I know all of their names, was something I believe he said to Iron Man about his parents, but we've seen that he cares about the people that he's wronged, and really at the end of the day what happened to Isaiah didn't have much to do with Bucky. But some of it was done to him by the same people that hurt Bucky. You know, they should in a way be kind of equals, but I totally understand why Isaiah is not someone that is feeling able to just be like, oh, hey, bro. You know, Bucky represents someone that he fought against, someone that was with Hydra, someone that the very people that sent him in to fight him have then turned on him. Sam works with the government. Sam is the Falcon, who's all part of it as far as he's concerned. I can see why he would be upset, and also just from the sounds of what he went through. So they used the serum on him, a version of it at least. They sent him into these super dangerous missions to fight the Winter Soldier, despite the fact that no one else came back. And instead of treating him like a hero at the end of it all, they locked him up to experiment on him. That is just unthinkably awful. And it's especially telling knowing that some of that was by Hydra and some of that wasn't by Hydra from what he said. It wasn't just Hydra doing this to him, which really begs the question of right and wrong and who should have power and all that kind of stuff. So that was just a really heartbreaking scene. Just the pain on Isaiah's face. I cannot remember his name, but I've seen the actor in a few things. He's such a brilliant actor. Just the level of hurt that was done to him and the injustice, and the fact that you can look at the real world and think, yeah, that probably would happen, that the world is capable of that. I'd like to think that ultimately maybe he will be able to sit down at some point to talk to Bucky or to talk to Sam, whoever he feels comfortable with. But my heart breaks for him, of anyone else like him. And it's just interesting, this concept that there have been more people with the super serum, that it isn't just Steve and Bucky, and that some, I guess it's only natural that people would continually try to make it so they can have their own super soldiers and whatnot. So for Bucky, you know, in that moment when he said, oh, you know, I'm not a killer anymore, and like, you think you just wake up one day, Bucky wasn't someone that just was a serial killer. He was literally brainwashed, mind controlled. He is an extreme case. Like, he is not like, you know, a serial killer who woke up one day and said, nah, I don't feel like it anymore, I'm a good person now. He genuinely, he was a wonderfully good person. He was Captain America's best friend. You know, he was a good man who then went through years of hell and torture and brainwashing and committed atrocities that weigh on him every second of every day. And now he's been freed from the brainwashing. He has broken free from that life and he wants to do good and be better. And having things like that thrown at him, I'm not blaming Isaiah because of what Isaiah's been through. It's just so hard because you can't wake up and decide that. You know, you can look at the life you've lived and what choices you made. And his choices were never to be a murderer. And I'm just... it breaks my heart, okay? It's breaking my heart for both of them having to see this guy pretending to be Captain America, and now that just really breaks my heart for Bucky, and his mental state is so fragile right now, and like, I just want him and Sam to be BFFs. We can take Bucky out on his family's boat that we'll figure out a way to save. I don't know. My heart's breaking for Bucky still. I think at some point I'd really like a proper heart-to-heart between Sam and Bucky, when Sam can talk about his own problems and his money troubles and like feeling like he failed his family, or feeling, you know, whatever his feelings are with that. I mean, we kind of touched on some of those last episode, but we haven't had a full in-depth discussion of them. And then for Bucky to really talk to Sam about his list, about his reparations, about that sweet old man he's befriended. But just, I need that to be their friendship. I don't know. But that was just a lot. Bucky is dealing with so much, and at the end coming to the conclusion that they need to go and see, oh my god, I forgot his freaking name. Zico. I know his name, it's escaped me. My memory has got really bad since I've got Emmy, I'm very sorry about that. They going to face him, and after everything he did, everything he helped to put Bucky through in Civil War, going face to face with him will be interesting. But I'm glad he's got Sam by his side, and I love their dynamic, I love their friendship, and I need them to acknowledge how strong a friendship it is. But yes, I love them a lot. I love all the jokes they have, just their dynamic is brilliant. So yeah, I love this show. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and thank you so much for watching.